Love and sex secrets that we men don't want you to know. But today we do, because we're going to tell you. It's going to be great. How are you, Matt? We got Matt Shaffer live with me. Good to see you.
What's up, Mark Rosenfeld? Dude, it's so great to be with you, man. It's been a while. It's wonderful to connect with you and
I
you
know.
and your tribe.
I was thinking about our last time together this morning, and that Valentine's Day evening we spent drinking Smirnoffs on the live stream. And yeah, I don't know how that came to pass. And yeah, it happened.
It was very romantic. Yeah, we had a Valentine's Day night. You were drinking Smirnoffs. I was drinking hot toddies. We got a little, we got a little tipsy, and we just let the dogs out. Yeah, that was a good time.
What was the story with that? Because I know that maybe it was the night before Valentine's. I think was it the night before?
I think it was the night before.
I am positive my partner wouldn't have let me hang out with you on Valentine's Day evening.
I think were you on the other side of the world still at that point, or were you over here?
No, I was over here.
You were over here. Yeah, I think it was the night before. I think it was the night before.
Right. That's why I was hanging out drinking Smirnoffs with you on Valentine's night. Well, it's great to have you on here. For the ladies joining us, we're going to be discussing. I got this awkward beam of light in my eye saying hello.
That's nice.
Right there. I've shut the blinds as much as possible. Welcome to the ladies on here this morning. Say hi in the chat because we can actually see your live chat. So we got Matt Shaffer on here. He's also going to be chatting today about his new program that he's unleashing, which is going to be amazing. You get 2 weeks of free content with him. So you can 3 weeks of free content with him. There's a link in the description to that. I can probably stick the link in the chat as well if you guys want to check it out. Matt, did you want to quickly talk about that before we get into the actual meat of today?
Absolutely. Hey, everybody. Yes, I'm doing a 3-week live free course. It's called Mastery of Connection. It's going to be unlocking your attachment style, your belief system, your personality type. And basically, it's going to help you transform your relationships from the inside out. You're going to get 15 video lessons, 50 plus hours of live coaching with me. It's an amazing transformational container, and we start on February 21st. So we start in a couple weeks. If you want to sign up, click that little link in Mark's description, apply, and it's going to be a blast. I guarantee you it's going to make a huge difference in your relationships, not just with men, but with everyone else in your life. So whether you're single, dating, in relationship, it does not matter. And again, absolutely free. So what do you got to lose? Come on in, and we'll have a blast, I promise.
Check it out. I'll see if I can find the link here and I'll pop it in the chat for you guys just in case. I think it's here. You do have to apply for it.
Yes.
I'll put the link in the chat. That's the link there. 2 man buns indeed, Veruca. I just want to point out that I was here first and
he was
the copycat.
I am. But now I'm curious. Have any of y'all ever seen Mark with his hair down? Is that something that ever happens? Do you ever let your audience see your hair down, bro? Does that ever happen?
He's asking you.
Yeah, ladies, have you ever seen the full mane, the full lion's mane of your fearless leader here? Oh, Gemstar Gamer says she has.
Gemstar Gamer has.
Veruca Salt has not. How long is it, bro? It's got to be down past the shoulders.
It's pretty long at the moment. We don't want.
I've finally gotten past. I'm right at shoulder level right now, and I'm very proud to have reached that milestone.
I believe there is one video deep in the 500 of the YouTube archives that displays this. No, but 1, 2, we got it next. Lots of comments on the hair. So we're talking some love and sex secrets today. We're going to take you in a few different directions today. Just have some fun with it. Love and sex. What should we start on, ladies? Love or sex? Where do you want us to go first?
What do you want?
What do you want? Do you want some love secrets that men are shy telling you about that we don't really want you to know about? But we're going to share them today because it'll be fun to do so. Or love secrets about how we love, or sex secrets about how we sex.
Gemstar Gamer. We got some lovers in the house.
Oh, it's all love. That's interesting. Okay.
Look at how surprised he is. He thought y'all were just going to go right in the gutter. He was like, I know my horny audience.
I actually did. No, I just thought it was fun. But all right, we're starting with love. It seems like it is a whitewash to love. This is like a Australia-England Ashes series right here. Total whitewash. So yeah, no one gets that joke, by the way.
Nope.
Let's get into that's cricket. There's probably one Aussie viewer on here that understands that. All right, let's get some love secrets. Do you want to kick us off, Matt, or do you want to start?
Absolutely. I'm happy to kick it off. I think a frustration that a lot of women have, right, is they're continually waiting for a man to speak into his feelings for her. You know, like, why doesn't he just say it? Why won't he ever talk back to me and give me back that same level of verbal acknowledgement that I'm giving him? But the truth is that a lot of men, we're so awkward. We have a lot of fear around deeply expressing our feelings because we've been hurt in the past, right? We've got pain around past times where we've been vulnerable, and we come up against a brick wall and a lot of anxiety, or we don't feel confident in our ability to talk about our feelings. We're like, we're like baby giraffes is the phrase I use a lot. You know, when a baby giraffe falls out and it's like a drunk guy on stilts, you know, like men have a lot of fear and awkwardness a lot of times around speaking about their feelings because they're either not used to it or they got trauma around it. So this secret is that men are going to express their love for you oftentimes most directly and most thoroughly through their actions, through the way that they show up for you, through the way that they do things for you. Like men, basically, we create emotional investment in a partner. It's sort of like how men deposit money into a bank account. We deposit our actions into a relationship. So the more that a man is doing things for you and with you and wanting to engage in activities with you, the more emotionally invested he is and the more he cares about you. So the key phrase to remember here is that a man's true intentions and feelings towards you are expressed through his consistent behavior over time. So if you really want to know how a man feels about you, ask yourself, what are his patterns of behavior within this relational container? Does that make sense? You're all with me, ladies? Give me a one if that makes sense to you. Because a lot of times, if a man's saying something and he's doing something else, if there's an incongruence between his thoughts and between his words and his actions, that's a red flag. That incongruency is an issue.
Yeah, that love can. Matt's got a great one here. That love can really get lost in translation. And when I look at how I've behaved with my own partner, yeah, verbally, I've definitely had some fears along the way. Mm-hmm. And I remember, especially early in our relationship, she'd bring up the marriage word or marriage, and she'd be like, "Oh, there'd be a trigger warning," literally before she said it. She's like, "Now, don't freak out. I'm just talking about in the future," because yeah, I do lean avoidant myself. But I can look at my actions and be pretty proud of those. Because even though verbally I wasn't so good at being like, you know, this is the girl I want to marry, and like that was really scary for me, and like still is kind of nerve-wracking, to be honest. But if we do look at my actions, I am proud of my actions. You know, we did a year completely long distance because of COVID. Survived a year long distance.
Amazing,
and,
dude.
You know, moved over to the country to be with her and brought the cat as well. So I think that when you bring your cat across the ocean, that's a pretty good action.
Yes.
That's if a guy is moving his cat across the country and he really loves his cat, that's a good action. That is a sign a guy is into you. We should add that to the videos.
That is it. Yeah, that's an all-in thing. If a man moves his pet into your place, or he moves his pet across, so what is it? 15,000 miles, something crazy, 7,000 miles from Australia. That's amazing.
It's a long trip.
Yeah, and a little follow-up, right, is that, hi, Stacy. So nice to see you. Stacy, someone from my community. This almost transcends love languages, right? Someone said love languages are important. And of course, there are five love languages, and one of them is, there's acts of service, right? So that is one love language. But I feel like this almost transcends the love languages conversation, right? Men fundamentally are going to be doers. And if a man is being very action oriented with you, that's a man that's activated by you and a man that's really in it to win it. Whereas if a man is very passive and he's not taking action and you feel that you're constantly the one needing to take action, then that's a man that just he's not invested. He's not in it to win it. This almost transcends the love languages conversation. It's just something to remember. I love she's got a smoking nun drinking whiskey.
Is this actually Veruca? She's a smoking, drinking nun. Good.
That's dope.
Yeah, right. Good on you, Rebecca. Breaking stereotypes. So
Yeah,
don't
I
let
love
them
it.
tell you in the church how to be. All right, so I'll share a little bit of something now that I'm actually going to talk about this in a video as well. So I think it's another one of those ones that gets lost in translation, a little bit similar to what Matt's talking about, which is men actually do care about your feelings a lot more than you think. So when you think biologically about men, you kind of go, all right, we can't have babies. So what is we're 50% of the population, and yet we can't have babies. Sure, we can be useful for you to choose and sexually select, but beyond that, what is our real purpose on this planet? How do we help the species continue? And when you look at the strength of men on average and the protection mechanisms of men, you can understand that. Men build a lot of houses. They, in these modern days, set a lot of the infrastructure. They go to the war. It's typically the men who are fighting. So why do men do that? It's because men do really care about continuation of the species, and they do care about the women and the children.
Yes, legacy,
100%. So this idea that, and I get where it comes from, so I'll sort of explain the depths of it, but often it's perceived that a man doesn't care about your feelings. And this happens a lot in relationship. I deal with this a lot. I see this a lot. So there's a couple of things that go on that can lead to your feelings getting lost in translation, and then you perceiving a man doesn't care about them. One of the big ones that I see, or there's a couple. One I'll speak to is that often when clients come to me and they say, hey, Mark, I told a man all my feelings and he didn't care. What they actually said to a man was more of their thoughts. Now, I'm not victim blaming here or anything like that, but we're all notoriously bad at talking about feelings. And often we'll make statements, especially in the English language, like, I feel like you don't care about me. I feel like our relationship doesn't matter to you. I feel like I'm not a priority. And what's interesting about all those statements is none of them were feelings. I didn't mention a single feeling in everything I just said. So surprisingly, when you actually get to the true feeling, I feel sad when I feel angry when I feel disconnected when men's ears do actually prick up when you use that stuff. What I described before was mostly thoughts. And the thing about thoughts, this is just a good tip for communicating with men, is we're very logical and we love debates. So if you give us, for example, if you say to us, I feel like I don't matter to you, that's a thought. And because we love debates, we will then, because we love thoughts and we love thinking and we love debates, we will, instead of actually listening to you, which is really what you're communicating is you're feeling unseen or sad or whatever it is. But instead, we don't really hear that. We hear, here's the thought. And I love debates. So now I'm going to bring up all the evidence like I'm on the debating team. You are a priority to me. And then we just start debating you. I feel like you don't care about me. Oh, biatch, here's 6 reasons and 6 things I did to prove I got the evidence ready to file that I do care about you. And you're frustrated because you're like, that's not the point. I want to get my feelings heard. Without realizing that neither of us have actually expressed feelings in that conversation. So you'd be surprised. It's incredibly, especially when I do relationship coaching myself, as in receiving it, not even giving it, but receiving it. It can be hard for both myself and my partner at times to not get lost in those stories. But when you actually bring real feelings to the table, the vulnerability of it, I'm so much more responsive to her and I can really see her, and same vice versa. So that's a big one, is men really do actually care about your feelings, especially when you know how to access them. But a lot of the time when I work with women, it's like they don't actually know what they are. So it's hard for us to hear them if you don't know what they are first. So I'd say practice that. And just on that, I will say as well, there are clients who have experienced, I said this to one client and she said, every time I use feelings words, here's what I expect. Well, it doesn't matter how you feel. It's not my problem. And I asked her where that came from. And she said, well, that was basically my dad's responses to me, is I had to be super assertive. I had to really use strong anger, use strong boundaries. If I was feelings in my young childhood, I just get walked on because dad didn't want to hear them. So if you've had some of that conditioning, and you'll know if you've had this, you'll probably, this will be a little harder for you. But still, with the right guy, if you don't attract guys like your dad or your mum, if your mum did that, with the right guy, it'll be a more foreign experience, but you can actually, there's lots of guys out there that do want to hear your feelings. for you, it's just going to feel a little bit more foreign for you to actually experience some of those guys. But they are out there, and they do want to hear your feelings. So I thought that was a myth that I wanted to share.
That's a huge one, man. And yeah, I can't tell you like how much I agree with that. And a lot of times men are craving, right, knowing how you're feeling. And if a man is invested in you, if a man is, wanting to be in relationship with you, he's deeply invested in you feeling good. He wants you to feel good. And so a great way to communicate boundaries or communicate what it is that you want for a man is to ground it in a positive feeling statement. So it's to tell, and this goes into another way. This goes into a great thing, which is acknowledging him for his actions. So I said earlier about how men love doing things for you. One of the best ways to validate and reinforce their behavior is to acknowledge a man, because that's a huge thing that I wanted to mention here, is that men crave being acknowledged for what it is that they're doing for you, or being acknowledged for how they look, for being acknowledged for how they're showing up. Because a lot of times, I'll be honest with you, men feel like they're being taken for granted because they feel like it's assumed that they're going to provide. It's assumed that they're going to take care of things. It's assumed that they're going to be the protector and everything else. So the more you can actually like consciously acknowledge a man for who he is, for how he's showing up, and for what he's doing, that is going to nourish his soul, and it's going to empower him. Because a lot of times men are feeling deeply emasculated. I know in my relationship, I've got an amazing partner who acknowledges the crap out of me. She acknowledges me for how I look, and she definitely acknowledges me for how I show up for her in relationship through my actions, right? So the more you can do that and ground that in your feelings. Say, for example, he opens the door for you, right, to go on a date or whatever, for you to say, hey, just so you know, like, I feel really safe when you open the door for me. I feel really taken care of, and it really means a lot to me. Right there, boom. That man is going to open the door for you now every time y'all go anywhere, because you've just empowered him and you've acknowledged his actions in a deep way, and you've done it by demonstrating how it made you feel. Right? So we really do care. And the more you can express that to us and give us a window into your mind, because we don't always know what's landing and what's not, like what's touching your heart and what's not. So give us that feedback, please.
Just to add here, one example that shows you, and this actually causes quite important relationship problems, that shows you how much we care, is this thing that men do where they tell white lies to you to not hurt your feelings. I'm sure all of you have had this at some point in your relationship life, but it's a form of codependency that sneaks in there. And it's something because we've chosen you. When we're with you, we don't like seeing your feelings hurt. It actually pains us, and it's not what we're on this planet to do, is to make you feel like shit. But there are important conversations in relationship. There are times where we need to bring stuff up. There's just that the best relationships do the difficult conversations, and they're willing to go there, and they're willing to hurt each other's feelings if necessary, not in an malintentioned way, but basically sometimes you need to call your partner out in either direction. Sometimes you do need to share, hey, when you did that, it made me feel this shitty feeling, and then your partner feels shit. These types of communications don't feel good. And especially when a man's giving you feedback, a lot of men, frustratingly for a lot of women, avoid giving you this feedback, as in they treat you like porcelain, because they don't want to hurt your feelings, and then it creates bigger problems later on. So if you've ever had a guy tell you white lies, or not tell you the whole truth, or hold back on stuff because he sort of thought, oh, I don't want to hurt her feelings and tell her the truth, that's kind of the evidence. I know it's not a great thing. Yeah, but that's kind of the evidence that men almost care too much at times about what you're feeling, because they dance around actually being honest, which is a different problem you've got to train men out of, but evidence nonetheless that they do not like hurting your feelings.
It's the worst. It's the worst. And we will sacrifice our own happiness and our own needs in order to maintain the peace in a relationship. And a lot of times
that's a big problem. Yeah.
It's a problem. It's a problem, right? So the more you can courageously check in with the guy and be like, hey, did this bother you? And he's like, no, it didn't bother me. And be like, are you sure? Like, it's okay if it did. You know, truly, like, I really want to know if this triggered you. Because like your feelings are really important to me. Like, a lot of times you might have to pull it out of a guy because he's gonna fight you. He's gonna push back on you for trying to do that, you know?
Yeah, I've had my partner, and I really appreciate her for doing this, because I have been in that habit. I've been in that, sometimes it's easier to just not speak up on a small thing and not hurt her feelings. And she's caught me a couple of times, to her massive credit. She's just trusted her intuition, just sensed, I think that was just, he's just said he's chill about it when he's actually not. And she's like, are you sure? Does it actually bother you? And actually, one question we've started using in our relationship, which has been really good, is just scoring things out of 10. It's like, out of 10, how much does this bother you? Out of 10, how much do you not want to come to this thing with me? Or out of 10, how much do you want to come to this thing with me? And it actually gives like a real scale, because if, for example, if she says, Mark, it'd be really important to me if you come to this thing with me, and I say, I'm being totally honest, I'm not really feeling like it. And then we'll do the exchange. Out of 10, how much do you want me to come with you? And she might say, I'm an 8. And she might say, out of 10, how much do you not want to go? I'm like, a 6. And so usually then we've communicated that, okay, in this case, it's more important that this is really important that I go with her. Now, obviously, if she just scored 10s for everything, we'd have a problem. But she doesn't do that. We're pretty honest about it. And so we sort of use this system to kind of help know how important things are, and it helps the honesty flow really well.
That's a great, I love that system. You know, is there like a cutoff? Is there like a ripcord where, you know, a floor where like, okay, if it's a 4, like, we're not doing it? Or
not really. No, it's just something we use we use it if we have, anytime there's a good conflict where it's like, she wants to stay home, I want to go out, or vice versa, or she wants to do something together, I want to do something apart. That's how we measure like the intensity of want, rather than just, I want to do that or I don't. I can get a vibe for her, she can get a vibe for me, and we can hear where each other starts. Because that's always the thing with a negotiation, is you always want to get someone to say no, and then the negotiation can begin. So if you know where someone starts, I can gauge, all right, this is really important to her, this is actually not that important to her, and she can do the same for me.
Amen to that. And so, I guess final thought on this whole thing is just, you know, remember, ladies, that you get to model what it is that you want in terms of intimacy and vulnerability with the masculine, right? You are the conductor of the orchestra of love, the symphony of love. You know what I'm saying? So if you want vulnerability, if you want intimacy, emotional intimacy with the masculine, if you want a man to talk about his feelings with you, it's so important that you ask yourself, am I showing up as vulnerable? Am I demonstrating what it is that I want? Am I taking the time to really ask him to express his feelings? Because for a lot of men, and this was never been more true than for me, right? A lot of men have a deeply held belief that no one gives a shit how they feel. Like, that their feelings don't matter, that their relevance, that their significance is fundamentally expressed through their ability to show up, their ability to provide, their ability to fuck, their ability to do all these things. Like, we've got like a handful of things that we think are what's important to us. And outside of those things, like our feelings, our emotions, our fears, you know, these are things that we truly believe that women don't care about, you know, or that if we share them, we're going to be viewed as weak. We're going to be viewed as not enough. It's going to emasculate us and make us seem unattractive to you, because we have to be this strong foundational, you know, pillar of the relationship, right? So we just got to take our feelings and we got to shove them away. We got to compartmentalize them and continue to do what we know is important to us. So remember, like, men, and this is a great other secret, is we put a ton of pressure on ourselves. You know, we put a ton of pressure on ourselves to be the person that we think you need us to be. Like, we really, really do. And we have a lot of anxiety around that. We will a lot of times hide aspects of ourselves because we don't want you to see those aspects of ourselves, because the worst thing we can think of is being viewed as weak, or that we can't provide, or that there's something wrong with us. So it's so pivotally important for you to recognize that. And so acknowledge a guy, invite him to step into vulnerability, and be that like emotional sanctuary for him, and give him a space to really practice this stuff. Yeah. And so it's just important to recognize that we have our own struggles with feelings too, and you can be a great
100%.
catalyst for healing that, you know.
Yeah, you can definitely help it or hurt it depending on your reaction to his shares.
Yeah.
Quick question here from 𝐒𝐿. Men don't really allow themselves to be vulnerable on emotions because they feel as if they come across as being weak. And you have to remember that biologically speaking, what use did vulnerability in men have for pretty much all of time? Very little. Possibly in his very, very intimate relationship, it would help him bond to the mother to keep the baby alive. But other than that, most of what men needed was not vulnerability. It was strength to protect the women, fight off the tribes, kill a zebra or gazelle. There just wasn't really a lot of survival value in vulnerability in men. So you have to understand that this is biological. And when we do long-term monogamy, we're doing something that's a bit unbiological. We're not really, it's great, and we have a luxury that we can do that now, but it's not true, like biologically natural. But I always say, biologically natural gives us a life expectancy of 35. So biologically natural is not the best thing, but it's where we're rooted from. So remember, when you're dealing with a man, you're dealing with sort of an ancient creature in a new world, and this whole vulnerability in men thing, it's never served a purpose before. So you're building up something really cool and great, but it's also something that does not come naturally to really many men.
No, but it can become a lot easier, like because in my relationship, like my partner is so incredibly emotive, and she acknowledges me so much. And she and I have cultivated a container now, right? Because every relationship is a container where I have gotten really comfortable acknowledging her, being super vulnerable with her, and receiving that from her, right? Because that's a lot of times, a lot of men, we have a lot of resistance around receiving acknowledgement and vulnerability from men, from women, so creating a container where the two of you can practice this stuff and help him build that muscle is so profoundly important, and when it comes to understanding men, I mean, we talked a little bit earlier about this free course that I'm going to be launching in a couple weeks on February 22nd, Mastery of Connection. I'm going to be doing a lot of manslating in that course. So questions you have about men, any issues you have coming up with the men in your life, with patterns you've had in relationship, the course curriculum we're going to be doing is going to give you a lot of ways to work through that. And you're going to have an opportunity to ask me questions, because I'm going to give you 50+ hours of live coaching in that container. So if that sounds like fun, be sure to sign up at the link that Mark just put in the chat, and it's in the description of this video. And we're going to have an amazing time. It's a 3-week free live course with me, so you can apply through that link. And we'd love to have you, because you get to understand men. We're not that complicated. We really aren't. Right, Mark?
That's right. Hey, shall we smash out a few more, Matt? We got 20 minutes left here. Do you want to barrel through a few more?
Absolutely. Okay. So another big thing, and another big thing that I think that's beautiful is that men appreciate it when you take actions for us as well. And again, we can talk about sex stuff. I know Mark's waiting to talk about sex stuff. He's ready.
I'm enjoying where we're going with it, to be honest.
Yeah, I am too.
Committed to
I am too. We can keep going love, ladies, or we can talk about sex. You just let us know. One thing that men really do appreciate that we'll never tell you is we appreciate when you take action to contribute to the relationship. So we really appreciate, like, when you offer to pay for dinner every now and again, when you offer to just pay for whatever, like buy us a drink in the middle of a night out, like just these small actions that you can take so that we're not, exclusively being the ones always having to provide. That really means a lot to us. It really, really does. Yeah, there's the link to the course. Boom. But, a lot of times, again, we feel taken for granted in terms of like, it's just an assumption that we're going to provide, that we're going to take care of everything, that we're going to be the ones that are, you know, maintaining the whole container. So for you to show up, for you to take us out to dinner, for you to buy us something sometime, just anything like that, it really is very meaningful to us on an emotional level. Because you got to remember, if a man's way of expressing vulnerability and emotions a lot of time is through actions, he's also going to receive that same energy through actions as well. So be willing to, you know, take a little step, take a little action. You know, it doesn't have to be a big thing, but just a little something. Yeah, help him out. See, Veruca Salt, the drinking, smoking nun here with us really does appreciate it. And that's something I really appreciate about my partner, is that she is always, every day, you know, I mean, obviously I do a lot for her, but she will also take the initiative and do things for me, you know, and help out around the house. And she's very reciprocal in the way that she shows up for me. You know, and it doesn't undermine the polarity. I think a lot of times women worry that if they start taking actions, if they pay for a dinner, that all of a sudden they're the guy, you know, that it's going to be that they're the masculine partner. I guarantee you, as long as you've set a proper frame of polarity with him, where you have showed up in your feminine and you've got that base established, just because you take an action periodically, it doesn't mean all of a sudden that, you know, you're the dude. I promise you it doesn't. Like, we can see you take an action and not all of a sudden, you know, become like it's not gonna emasculate us.
Yeah,
you know
I always think about this as, you know, if it's 100-0 masculine feminine, then he's completely paying for everything. He's taking all the actions, and that can feel good. Some of you are probably like, oh, it sounds like amazing. Don't get me wrong, that can feel good, but it can also lead to him feeling like unappreciated and like he has to work all the time for everything. And it can also honestly lead to some of the more toxic extremes, which is where, well, I'm paying for everything and I'm controlling everything, so you better sleep with me when I say so. You better show up. You better do what I tell you. That sort of extreme level of polarity is where you can get some pretty unhealthy stuff showing up. Versus if we go right to the middle, which is what you do with, say, a girlfriend, straight up friend, 50-50, where you pay half, she pays half, you do some actions, she does some actions, equal friendship. That's really nice in a different way, but there's no polarity there. So I always say, try to find that midpoint between 100-0, where you're making no contribution, you get to be the total feminine, he's doing everything. Halfway between that and what you do in a friendship, like a 50-50, this is my friend, so I respect him or her. Sometimes I offer to pay, sometimes I do little stuff. It's like that 75-25 line, where you get the benefits of both. You get the benefit of being the woman and being the female and getting to be the receiver a lot of the time and getting to be, you know, him doing things and him taking you out and him taking care of the trash maintenance or whatever it is. Like, you receive a lot of that, but you still have that element where you're his friend. And it's not a pure polarity relationship, because realistically, what a lot of you are going for is not that pure polarity relationship. You don't live in a very hyper-conservative culture like Tunisia or Iran, or nothing against those cultures, but they're very conservative and they're extreme polarity. A lot of you aren't going for that. You're looking for someone you can also contribute. You can be like his best friend and his lover. So you find that point in the middle. And yeah, as Matt says, it's not about becoming the man doing it all for him. Definitely not. It's not about being 75-25. But finding that sweet spot where you can be his friend and a partner, like as someone he can look in the eyes and respect and see as a really good friend. Like, my partner is my best friend, but she's also my lover. But we'll oscillate between that. Sometimes it's full polarity. Sometimes it's like we're teamwork, 100% friends. Yeah. And it depends on the day. And it depends. But that average 75-25 is sort of where you want to hit. So don't be afraid to do things, occasionally like that, as Matt says.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it. And it makes us respect you as a friend. It's like, brings this is my best friend side in as well. I have to respect my best friend. I have to treat my best friend like an equal. And you don't get in that extreme polarity.
Exactly. And you got to remember, like, one danger of as Mark said, is that if a man's doing 100% of the lifting in a relationship, especially if he's got, maybe he's got a little toxic masculine in him, like he's doing that as a control mechanism. He's doing that because he's insecure, and he's going to leverage that against you as a way of controlling you. Alternatively, if he's maybe not super toxic masculine, but he still feels this continual pressure that it's his job to pay for everything, it's his job to, make you happy, that then guess what? You've become his job. You've become work. And he feels taken for, like, and like most jobs, he's going to start feeling stressed out. He's going to start feeling not taken advantage of, but taken for granted, because it's just assumed that he's the one that has to take care of everything. And so that creates a heaviness in relationship for the masculine that isn't sexy. It's not sexy. It's not sexy for a guy. It's like, all right, well, guess it's my job to shovel out another $200 for dinner and whatever else we're doing tonight. And, like, it just becomes this thing. And, don't make your happiness his responsibility. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously he's going to be contributing to it, but it's your happiness and your fulfillment as a human being is fundamentally up to you. And then the two of you come together to make each other feel even better. But if you make your livelihood or your survival his financial responsibility and your emotional well-being his responsibility, all of a sudden he's got a full-time job dealing with all that stuff, and that's heavy for men. And it can burn us out. It's not sustainable.
Nicely said, Matt. So let's do a couple of other quick fires here. One that I had that I wanted to share quickly is just a thing, kind of a secret about men. Usually, our breakup pain is delayed onset. And this confuses a lot of women, because if you get broken up with, you're down in the dumps, you're feeling like absolute shit, you're processing all the feelings, and he's like out with his friends, he's out dating again. There's a lot of statistics that show men look back, especially divorced men, look back on their former relationship, former marriage, with a much grass is greener, a much more positive view of that relationship, more so than women. But it is delayed onset. So if you've ever seen the meme, it's like day after a breakup and the man's like, yeah, and the woman's in tears, and then it flips 6 months later. Just a helpful thing to know about men. It's not that we don't give a shit. It's just that generally speaking, men break up because they are feeling some kind of restriction of freedom, true or imagined. So their relief is immediate, but then the loss of connection comes later. The loss of connection and the actual pain comes later. Whereas for you, it's reverse. You'll get the loss of connection first, because that's, as the feminine, that's what you're more aware of. And then the freedom and the benefits of being away from a broken relationship will kick in later. So men have delayed onset breakup pain.
That's so true. And I mean, in my own life, like literally my last relationship ended and I was deeply invested in my last partner. We broke up. And she left, and I felt this immediate deep sense of relief. And in my head, I was even thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I wish, like, where's the pain? Like, where is the heartbreak that I knew was coming? And literally for a week, I felt nothing but like relief and just sort of like a sense of expansion and whatever. And then after about a week, I heard a song that, reminded me of her.
It's coming.
And it was just like, it was just like a volcano. Like, I was literally crying till I thought I was going to throw up, and I was like, oh my God, there it is. And then I had another period of a week of nothing. And then I had another, like, something happened and it reminded me, and it came up again. And it really wasn't until it took about 3 months for me to fully connect with and address like the loss of that person. And that was something that was really necessary, because I knew, because I'm pretty, emotionally aware at this point in my life. I knew that I needed to fully process that breakup so that I could heal from it, so that I could be ready for my true queen, right? My partner that I have now. And I knew I wanted to call in, a deep loving relationship, and that I wasn't going to be fully ready for that until I healed my past breakup. But it's not a linear process with men. We don't just necessarily get access to it right away.
Yes. Matt, do you want to take the next one? We got 9 minutes here, so we'll smash out a few.
Okay, let's see. What's another good one here? As far as what men are not wanting you to know, I think something physically, if we want to see a couple little physical ones here at the end, is that men, we don't just crave sex. Like men crave gentle touch. Like for men, touch is a love language, and touch is a primary form of emotional expression for most men, right? So men are craving gentle touch. Men are craving being held. Men are craving being petted. You know, men are craving like that like nurturing, sweet. Oh, the hair. I mean, why do you think Mark always pulls his hair back like that? Mark likes getting his hair pulled a little bit. I guarantee
so
it.
My girlfriend can pet me. It's just,
yeah.
No, I'm actually not into that.
Really?
Oh, I fucking hate it. It's like an instant turn off. Hey, it's like, because the whole reason I grew out my hair, honestly, was just laziness.
I believe that.
It's like I didn't want to get haircuts every month anymore. I'm sick of this. This is taking up too much of my time. I need to be more efficient here. And that's why my girlfriend jokes, if I ever cut off my hair, it would probably just be shaved, because she's like, the only alternative for your hair laziness is there's no way we're going to get you to a hairdresser every month. So I don't know. Maybe should I go to styling or something? What do you think? I don't know, ladies. Pop it in the chat.
Skinhead Mark. How do you guys feel about skinhead Mark? If you were to just shave it all off.
I've never been into like styling hair, spending too much time on it. It just doesn't suit my nature. Anyway,
it is simple. It is simple to do it. It is simple to do it this way. But with that pulled back hair, very aerodynamic, easy to be pet, you know. And so, like, ask yourself, ladies, like, are you gently touching your partner? Are you giving him subtle touch? You know, are you giving him physical contact? You know, like just putting your hand on his waist as you walk by him, you know, giving him a long hug when he comes home from work. Like, we're not just interested in getting our rocks off. Like, we really are craving that sort of touch, because it creates a sense of safety for us. It creates a sense of emotional intimacy with men, you know, and gives us an opportunity to drop our walls, you know, because we generally got that as a child. We got that from our mom, you know, a lot of times as a child. And so it gives us an opportunity to sort of drop in and go back to that childlike state, which is something that men, I mean, we love to be able to do, and we don't really have any opportunities to do that normally in our lives anymore.
Yeah, for a lot of men, that's how we are able to actually get into our bodies and our feelings is through you touching us, because it's kind of the only time it's permissible. A lot of time it is looked at as weak, and whether that's right or wrong, it's not super beneficial for society to have men who are sitting around in their feelings all day. It's just not that helpful. Like, you're here to build a building. You're an architect. Yeah. Stop feeling, get the building built. You know, so when we're with you, it's that opportunity to do that. Exactly. What else we got here? I will say quickly, just a quick one. We do need space from you sometimes. It has nothing to do with you. Sometimes we just need a little time, just gonna go do my own thing for half a day or an hour or two, or just I need to be away from you, and it's normal and it's healthy, and it doesn't mean we love you less. Obviously, put it in context, use common sense. If we're pulling away, if we're not communicating it, etc. But in a healthy relationship, you'll still need some space, and your man will still need some space, and that's normal from time to time.
Yeah, 100%. So, you know, if a man is saying that he needs space, like if he just wants to go off, he needs to go on this boys trip, you know, or whatever. Like, having a boys night and a girls night, it actually will increase attraction and polarity between the two of you. You know, like that space between the two of you, it's going to help him appreciate you more. It's going to give him an opportunity to just be that pure, unfettered masculine, especially if the two of you live together. You know, it's good to consciously cultivate the space between the two of you.
Yeah, I just want to add to that. I went back to Australia for 6 weeks, and because Australia's become a ridiculous country, Sam, my partner, couldn't get in. And yeah, I missed her, but I'm not going to lie, it was good to spend 6 weeks away. And now I'm back living with her, and that's great too. So it's not that I loved her less. It was just that, hey, here's some man time, focus on work. Sure, 6 weeks is excessive, and I wouldn't usually do that long, but it definitely reminded me that, hey, I probably do need a week a year, 2 weeks a year, where I go off on my own and just super not be near her. And it's not because I love her any less. So important point.
Exactly. 100%. Yeah. Space is important for polarity and for men to step up and step in relationship. Like one of the things that space represents to a man is trust. So if you allow a man to have space, you're demonstrating to him that you trust him, and that's huge for a man because men want to feel that you trust them. So think about it, if you're just continually like staying on a guy and micromanaging him and trying to control him and being clingy and all this stuff, you're demonstrating that you don't trust him. And if you don't trust a man, like for me and
we need your trust. We really need it.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's no worse feeling for us. It's emasculating as a woman that doesn't trust us, because we, and this is when I'm coaching as well. This is really important because if you think about it, if you've ever hired a coach, by the way, if you ever want to hire me as well, you can link in the description. But if you have a coach who sees you as like a 5 out of 10 in your abilities, and you want to be a 10, do you think that coach is going to facilitate you to grow there? Exactly. Probably not, right? You want a coach who has an image of you beyond what your own limits of yourself are. So in the same token, if you have a partner who has a low belief in you or who says you're trustworthy at a level 3 out of 10, and I in my own life want to, like, I see myself as a 5 or a 7 and I want to grow to a 9 out of 10 trust. Just going to block this shit here. Hold on. There we go. If you want to have someone, like if I'm your partner and I want to grow into that level of trust, it's very hard for me to see myself big when you see me so small. So trust is something that does need to be worked on. You can't just say, "Oh, trust someone and it'll happen." It's exposing your insecurities. It's sharing some of your risks and some of your fears and etc. And same for him. And trust is like a marble jar that you build up over time. But as Matt says, it's very important. I just remember being really turned off by women early on when they showed that, they had so little trust in me, like such a low opinion of me. And even though logically I know it wasn't actually me, it was just a reflection of something they experienced in the past, I would much rather be with a woman that trusts me, because much like you want a coach that believes in you, so you can step up to that, I want to be with a woman that believes in me so I can step up to that. Because people, men and women, we want to rise to the good belief that someone has of us. If someone believes us to be like shit, we usually start acting that way.
Exactly. Well, your relationship's going to be a mirror. Your partner is going to mirror back to you where you're at. And if you show your partner that this is who you think they are, they're going to be like, "Oh, okay, I guess that's who you see me to be. So I'm going to be that person," So have the courage to see a man in his greatness and to stand for it, right? By making an invitation to him to step up into his power, step up into his genius, step up into his whatever, and then give him the space to do that. Invite him to plan a great date and then give him the space to plan that date. Invite him to go for it in his career and then give him the space to go for it in his career. Don't start feeling threatened that his career is going to interfere with your relationship. The more you can embrace this cycle of invitation and space, the better your relationship's going to become and the more empowered, your man's going to be. Tell him what you like in bed and then give him the space to go for it.
Up to that.
That's
great advice. Yeah. I just want to add here, and when you have actually had a violation of trust, that has to be recovered from. Typically, honestly, for me and my partner, we just end up at a couples coach. Nothing major has happened, but it's been a great relationship habit for us. It's just every month we check in with a couples coach, do a couples session. But especially if you've had something big that's betrayed trust, you can't just trust again. And often you'll be gaslighted. "Oh, can't you just put the past in the past?" So, it doesn't work that way. You've got to heal that relationship trauma. So there's a great book, Hold Me Tight, which talks a lot about this. It's a thick read, but does talk a lot about this. But yeah, we're not saying just trust when someone's showing they are untrustworthy. That has to really be built back up. You usually need couples outside assistance to do that. We're talking at the beginning when someone hasn't betrayed your trust yet, and especially when your lack of trust in them is not coming from them, when it's coming from a historical figure, that's a really good opportunity for you to share your story about the historical figure, build more intimacy, and doing that will build more trust. I've had times where, you know, my partner has said, hey, something's coming up for me. It's not your fault. This is actually a thing from an ex or a dad. I just want you to let you know I'm working through it. And look, I'm going to get control of it. But if I ever say something like this, that's probably just coming from there. And that built trust in me towards her, because now I know, well, she's self-aware and I'm not going to be controlled by her. And I am trusted by her. She's just, yeah, she's smart and she's pointing this stuff out early. So that made me trust her more. And she also obviously trusts me to be telling me that. So that's cool. Now, Matt, I think you've got to bounce. Is that right?
I got to go, ladies. I got another thing coming up here in 10 minutes, but I want to make a cordial invitation that if you're looking to work on your relationships, right? You're looking to improve your relationship with an existing partner. You're looking to understand why your relationships haven't been working out, what your patterns have been, right? If you're looking to find a great partner in your life, no matter if you're single or in relationship or at any stage of this process, my free course, Mastery of Connection, starts in a couple weeks on February 21st. It's going to be a 3-week live course with 15 video lessons, over 50 hours of live group coaching with me. We're going to get into your belief system, your attachment style, your personality type. It's really a transformational relationship course to help you transform your relationships from the inside out, because every relationship is a mirror for you. So as you do inner work, your relationships with everyone else, including and especially the men in your life, are going to change tremendously. So if that sounds like fun, if you're ready to really take a huge step in your relationships here in the new year, come into this course, apply through this link. I'm offering it for Mark's community. It's a $2,000 course that I'm offering for free as a beta. I mean, 50 hours of working with me. To work with me is $500 an hour, you know? So like you get 50 hours of working with me as a group coach in group coaching setting, absolutely free. All I want from you in return is just to get feedback and testimonials if you have a great experience. So I'd love to have you as part of it. And, you know, thank you, Mark, for having me on to talk about this and to get serious and to really dive into men, right? Because we're great, right?
Yeah, you're very welcome, Matt. And yeah, I like to think so. I certainly like to think so. I will be on live next month at the same time with the amazing Terry Cole, author of Boundaries Boss. So that'll be same time next month. And on Instagram every week at this time, I'll be taking your questions live in a actual voice-to-voice format. So you can actually jump on the Instagram live with me next week for every Wednesday of the month except the first. So you can jump on there as well. And of course, if you want to work with me personally as well, I'll put a link down there too. Thanks, Matt. Make sure you join up to Matt's course. It's free, great value there. Love having you on the channel. And thanks for showing up, ladies. I really appreciate you engaging. It's been so good seeing all the comments come through.
Yeah, Bree went through the course. She had a great experience. Appreciate that, my dear.
Awesome.
It is free. Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, get in on that, ladies. It's going to be really, really cool, and you'll have a great experience there. And yeah, if you want to catch me live, as I say, I'm doing the interactive lives every week on Insta, so please show up for that.
Fun.
Namaste indeed. Thanks, Stacey. Thanks, Anessa, Jem, C, Will, Veruca, the Smoking Nun, Senior Queen. Thanks all of you who showed up today. I appreciate you, and I appreciate your follow so much.
Cheers.